Hello everybody and welcome to Things That Go Bump in the Night. This is Dylan.
And this is Danny. And this week we'll be covering the Enfield Poltergeist story. Was it a 17-person hoax?
A hallucination involving the police.
Or the best documented paranormal case in history?
So dim the lights, get cosy, and let's begin.
Today, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some of the facts and fictions of the Enfield haunting. I'm going to be looking at what was true, what wasn't true, what was exaggerated, what wasn't exaggerated, which might be creepier.
In the Conjuring movie.
In the Conjuring movie, yes. Yeah, Conjuring 2 to be exact. And Danielle's going to be looking at some creepy stuff that maybe they didn't cover in the movies.
Yeah, there's a lot that
stuff
was
that they
on
did.
Documentaries.
Some scary stories.
Yeah, so let's begin with the setting. So it was in 1977. The location was 284 Green Street in Enfield.
Which is in London, for those that don't know.
Yeah, North London.
North London.
A small council house in North London. The family that lived there, so there was Mum, Peggy Hodgson, who was 47. She was divorced. The father had just left. Children, Margaret, 13. She was the oldest. Janet, who was 11. Johnny, who was 10. And Billy, who was 7. They were recently divorced. So yeah, not long happened. So the circumstances were obviously rough anyway. They were going through financial difficulties. Obviously, Peggy, the mum, was trying to support all the kids on her own and work.
And I think this is a good point because we obviously know from our research that this is when bad stuff tries to get you.
When you're at your lowest, and when
hits you when you're down, basically.
Yeah, hits you when you're down. Like it just, I think it opens you up and makes you more vulnerable. So yeah, it was a stressful home environment already. Oh, that was really weird.
What the hell was that?
It was the wind coming through the window.
Like a bee farting.
A farting bee.
Farting bee. If a bee farted, that's what that would sound like. I really hope that picked that up. I don't know what a bee fart sounds like.
A farting bee ghost.
Why's it got to be a ghost?
Because we've got bird
Why
ghosts.
can't it just be a farting bee?
Because we're collecting animal ghosts. We've got bird ghosts, now we've got bee ghosts.
Not everything's got to be a ghost. It was just a farting bee.
The bird is Janet. The bee is Bert. These are our resident ghosts.
Bert the farting bee. Janet the bird.
Fucking hell.
Right,
anyway, how it started. There were noises in the house, a bit like
that.
That
was a farting bee.
Farting bees flying everywhere.
You would shit yourself if you woke up to that in the middle of the night, though, wouldn't you? What the fuck was that? I really hope that picked it up.
I really hope
oh
it did
my
as well.
God. Right, yeah. Anyway, back to ghosts.
So it all started. In the movie, it was presented like it started with a Ouija board. However, an important thing to remember that was not like factually true. Farting bee.
What window fucking does that?
Shitty old ones. Oh, I've got the fear that the space toggle's on the fucking space toggle.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
for those who don't know what that is, it's ruined 3 podcasts already.
Yeah, we've had to re-record 3 podcasts.
This is our 9th take of this one.
Goddamn space toggle. So if you hear us cursing the space toggle,
yeah,
that is why.
Or Charlie or Eric, yeah.
Yeah, Charlie can get farts.
Yeah.
Please, when the computers take over the world, Charlie, be kind to me.
Yeah.
We were friends. We're not talking right now.
Right. Okay.
Right. How it started. So, important clarification. The movie says it starts with a Ouija board, but there's no documented evidence of this being true.
From what we know about Ouija boards, it wouldn't surprise us.
Yeah. So there was basically early disturbances. So there was knocking sounds, scraping noises, and basically this sound started to grow louder and louder over time, and like followed them around the house. Bit like the farting bees.
Stop bringing that up because I can't go again.
The first major escalation was the 31st of August in 1977. It was late at night, and Janet and one of her siblings, in some documents it says it was her brother, but I think it was Margaret, so I think the girls slept in the same room. But it was late at night and Janet heard like shuffling sounds, and then the girls' beds like started vibrating and shaking. which you want to be a bit like, what's going on?
Understandable.
Built-in vibrator. So not appropriate.
Remember, it's the kids. I made a joke earlier, and then Danielle pointed out they're kids, and now Danielle's made a joke knowing that they're kids. So that's the comment saying you're a nonce.
So yeah, they basically heard the shuffling sounds and the bed started shaking and vibrating. Peggy, the mum, came.
The farting bee.
We have to retake this whole thing.
Being there.
Leave the
That's going to
farting
be
bee
a
alone.
character. I want the window to do that every other episode.
We did some storms then.
Bert the bee.
Peggy came upstairs, sceptical, and firm. She was like pissed off. She was like, "The kids are awake. I'm tired. Got in from work. Long day." She goes upstairs to shut them up.
Yeah, understandable.
And then she's standing there. What are you doing? And then the chest of drawers basically comes sliding across the room towards her, and she's like,
Because
okay.
I think that was in the movie.
Yeah, that was in the
was
movie,
in the movie,
which is really
yeah.
interesting. But yeah, basically comes sliding towards her, and she's like, okay. And she looks around. She's like trying to work out what's going on. She pushes the chest of drawer back. It slides towards her again. Pushes it back. Slides towards her again. And then she basically can't push it. It's almost like someone's standing the other side holding it. So she freaks out, grabs the kids, runs downstairs, and she goes to their neighbours, who I think they're friends with, called the Nottinghams. So that was basically the first big account.
Occurrence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Nottinghams, basically, Vic, who was the husband, went like over to the house because he was a constructor, no, surveyor, something to do with buildings. He went over there and basically checked out everything, and he there was nothing wrong with the house, but they all heard the knocking as well. But because he couldn't find anything wrong with the house, like he was like, I can't find anything that's causing it. He and his wife thought that there was someone playing a prank on them, basically. So they called the police.
Which is like a rational thing to think. It's the immediate thing I would think.
Yeah, they called the police, and basically the police come over, expecting it to be a prank. So they arrived around 1 a.m. PC Heaps later testified to this. Going to upload all the photos and videos to our Instagram page.
We'll do links at the very least.
Yeah, we'll do links.
So you can...
I'm going to put them all on the Instagram page and just put
Yeah.
episode 1.
Episode 2.
It's 2.
Yeah.
Because 1 was a fail.
Yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know, we weren't going to mention anything because we didn't want to moan, but we had to record episode 1 3 times.
So we probably didn't seem like that
the happiest of people.
enthusiastic, maybe?
We were just
Because
done.
It just felt very...
We recorded it 3 times in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And we're so done with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is episode 2. The police were called and they arrived around 1 a.m. PC Heaps later testified to this. So they heard knocking on the walls immediately. There was 4 taps on the wall. There was a silence and then tapping again from a different wall. The police were just about to leave as well, and then basically a chair began to wobble side by side. It then fell over and slid like across the room.
Which is also in the movie.
Yeah, that's in the movie too. Because I think that's what gave this story so much credibility, is because having, especially back in that day, having police like testified to it, it gave it like some momentum, and like some standing and stuff. But yeah, so that was what happened when they were about to leave. The officers examined the chair and there was like nothing on it. They checked for strings and stuff to see if it was a prank. There was no explanation. Then PC Heaps put a marble basically on the floor in the exact same position to see if it would like roll in the same way, which it didn't. But yeah, the police basically said there's nothing they can do. There's no law was being broken. It's not really a police matter.
And I always think about this because in my worst nightmares where I do get like haunted or like
possessed.
No, not possessed. I don't want to get possessed.
Attacked
If I do get possessed at that point, you're fucked.
Attacked by a demon. Oh
Yeah.
I'm fucked. Fuck.
What?
I'm fucked because I'm doing the podcast with you. You'll get
Yeah,
possessed
I
and then
feel
I'm
like
fucking gonna die.
That would be crazy for the views though. Podcast with a possessed
Girl dies
person.
from-
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go that extreme. Just podcast with a possessed person. Anyway, what do you do? Like, what do you do? If,
Call a
like,
priest. Become religious.
Yeah, but then like one realistically, and this is where it gets confusing because there's Catholic priest. I mean, we'll obviously do this in another episode, but there's Catholic priest, then there's like
I'm calling them all.
Christian.
I'm
Yeah,
calling
but
every single priest from every single religion.
not every priest, vicar, whatever is going to be trained to do an exorcism.
I'm calling
are
everyone.
they?
I'm calling all the priests I can find that are. I'm going to where the Pope lives. I'm going to the tribes that do voodoo. I'm going to everywhere to get help.
Yeah, but then like realistically, real world comes into it. Your job, you got to turn up for work the next day. You can't, you got. This is my point of the reality of it. Of like,
you just have to live with it. It must become like everyday life.
Well, this is my point. In the most extreme cases, what do? You do you know what a good film is actually? Which I'm sure loads of people have watched. Paranormal Activity, the first one, like back in 2007, because that's kind of what happens to them, innit? I know that's obviously completely all fictional, but I think it's a really good point where they do it, where shit's going on in the house, it's getting serious and more serious. Yeah. Eventually, someone comes over to help because they think, it'll just go away. They're going to document it at first.
Everything.
But again, the reality of it is, it's not just easy to move, is it? Like, that's my point. In the reality, everyone goes, oh yeah, I'll be straight out there. And that's my thinking as well. But straight out there to where? And then, as you know, if it's like demons or if it's like that kind of thing, it just follows you.
Yeah.
So I think that is always in the back of my mind. Like, if worst case scenario, I started to get haunted, started to get some
If you were
like, bad
possessed,
shit.
You wouldn't know about it.
No, not possessed. That's extreme. That's
Everyone
what I'm saying.
would, but
That's
you
extreme. But like
Haunted.
bad shit, haunted, demonic stuff going on, you can't just up and leave your life. And if you're in her situation, you got kids, where the hell do you go?
To your neighbours, apparently.
Yeah, but again, there's only so long you can stay at your neighbours.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not just it happening, it's happening.
Well, I mean, this is what happens. This story.
Well, yeah, but as we'll find out,
Let's see
what
happens.
Didn't turn out too bad.
Let's see what
Spoilers.
happens.
Well, if you've seen the movie, then you know. No, sorry, carry on.
So yeah, the police were basically saying, what can we do? So they decided to call the press. So they called the Daily Mirror because they're trying to get some, I guess, like get it out there to try
publicity.
And get some help. Yeah. Reporters Douglas Vence and photographer Graham Morris arrive. They stayed overnight alone for the first night. Basically, the family slept next door so that they could like investigate it without the family being
at
there.
the Nottinghams, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So the neighbours, until later, the neighbours are the only neighbours I'm referring to are the Nottinghams, which are their friends. But yeah, that first night, nothing happened. Around 2:30am, they decided they were going to leave, feeling disappointed. But just before leaving, they basically got the family so they could bring them back in. And then as soon as the family got there, Lego started like flying around the room. One piece actually hit the photographer Graham in the face, which caused him to have bruising that lasted for days. Which I was on. Marbles were being thrown around the house, which was witnessed by them, the family, and the neighbours. And some of the marbles were actually like burning hot to touch. Which is, I have no explanation for that.
Not really, no.
No explanation for that.
Other than they're lying, isn't it?
Not all of them.
Well, that's what we go on to, right? Is it one big old hoax?
So basically, like, the more and more credible witnesses that they're starting to get. So the case was referred to the Society for Psychical Research, which was founded in 1882. It was the first organisation to formally examine the paranormal claims, and it basically approached it without prejudice, but still with scepticism. Mm-hmm. So basically open-mindedness. And it's still considered one of the most legitimate research bodies to this day. It still is going.
What's it called again?
The Society. You're trying to make it.
No, generally not.
The Society for Psychical Research.
Society for Psychical Research.
Yes, it's still going this day.
Are they like an English society? Do you know?
I don't know.
Let's fact check it real quick. Yeah. Psychologist Edmund Gurney, who's a poet.
Didn't he know it?
I'm going to judge by all their names, like Sir Oliver Lodge, Arthur Conan
Just
Doyle.
type in is Society for Psychical
those
Research.
names sum it up for me. They're English. They're English names.
Well, this is a UK thing, so I would assume they're English.
Yeah.
So basically...
Yeah. Myers. Yeah, they're English.
So Morris Gross, unfortunate surname, enters. So investigator Morris Gross is the first person that comes on the scene. He basically took...
is it Maurice?
Maurice. Yeah, Maurice Gross. So he took a special interest in the case because in his personal circumstances, a year earlier, Maurice, I'm going to struggle saying that, had basically...
Just think of, what's the movie?
Maurice. Isn't there a mouse or something?
The thing. I like to move it.
Oh, Madagascar.
Madagascar.
Is he called Maurice?
Is it Maurice? Is Maurice his assistant?
Correct us in the comments.
Wait, no, one sec. One sec.
My was 10%.
Maurice,
I've got to get through this.
Madagascar. Maurice. Because that's all I can hear now. Is the guy.
The flying bees and
Maurice.
Let's collect another animal, shall we?
Maurice. Yeah, he's the assistant that's
Alright,
always
I'll
like
think of
cussing
him.
people out.
Okay.
Yeah. Maurice.
Great, now I'm going to picture him researching ghosts.
Maurice.
He's running around
It's
with a little
the name.
net trying to catch fighting ghosts.
Maurice.
Fighting ghost bees. Fuck's sake.
Right.
In comes Morris Gross.
Maurice.
Oh, fuck.
You can't call him Morris.
There's so many Morrises in this case. That's why I'm getting confused. Right.
Go on.
So Maurice Gross enters. He basically took a special interest in the case because 1 year earlier, Maurice had lost his own daughter and her name was Janet as well.
Which is also covered in the film.
Is it?
He says that towards the end when,
Okay.
he's speaking to...
So he basically went above and beyond to try and help the family. So one night at 1:15 a.m, very precise, a loud crash was heard from the girl's bedroom. They went upstairs, the girls were sound asleep, but a chair had been flipped across the room. But yeah, so after this, basically media attention escalates. So the case appeared on BBC Radio 4, the Daily Mirror, and then there was a presenter, Ross Morris. See, there's more Morrises to come as well.
Is that Maurice or Morris though?
No, this is Ross Morris. So
That's
it's a
actual Morris.
presenter. He basically stayed in the house as well and witnessed the chairs being thrown. He witnessed the bed shaking. So there was more and more credible witnesses basically. Then they decided they needed like a senior investigator, so they brought in another investigator called Guy Lyon Playfair. He was basically more experienced but worked with Maurice, and together Guy and Maurice attended the house hundreds and hundreds of times, and they dedicated years to the investigation. So 25th of September, the activity starts to follow the family. It became really overwhelming, and Peggy was getting worried about Janet because she was struggling at school. None of the kids were getting any sleep. She actually tried to get, because they were in a council house, she contacted the council to try and get them moved to a different council house, but they were like, no, you've got no reason in. They didn't really I guess they don't come...
And other from the haunt,
I guess they don't come
into
contact with these sorts of things.
Good council house. Yeah.
So she was overwhelmed with it all. She decided to take the children to her brother's house because he actually lived on the same road. So John Burcombe and his wife Sylvia, they were at the home, and Sylvia basically saw a children's toy levitate up into up into the room, and then drop to the floor.
And that's at the other house. That's at the brother-in-law's house.
Yeah. So
my point follows you.
At this point, is it attached to them?
Has to be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Has to be, because they always say that it's either attached to the person or to the property, or to some object in stuff like that. Yeah.
But yeah, so October is when it starts to intensify. The sounds and moving objects were being witnessed by more and more reporters, more neighbours. Basically, there was people in and out the house constantly. So it must have been really unsettling anyway, just in terms of, without the hauntings, just having so many people coming in and out of your home life, examining you, must be really overwhelming. There were soft furnishings being thrown around the house, cutlery being thrown around the house. Janet started to decline. The family, she basically decided to take the family away for a week's holiday at the seaside, because she couldn't get them moved. She'd got some extra money, she was like, let's just go away. Whilst they were away, there was an overwhelming sense of relief. Nothing paranormal happened, so they didn't follow them there. And then basically they returned to the house.
I just realised they touched on that actually in the film, but they didn't describe it like that.
Yeah.
There's in the part of the film that she asked him what's the happiest memory, and she's like, the day at the seaside.
Yeah.
But she didn't say it's for that reason.
So yeah, they went away, and nothing happened. I think they were away for 6 days, and then when they got back, it's actually noted that it was within 30 minutes of them being home, the activity resumed immediately. The knocks started happening. So whilst the family were on holiday, Maurice and the other reporters, so Graham, the photographer, was it Graham? I think it was Graham, the photographer, they stayed at the house, and they basically started to try and communicate with the spirit through knocking. So he basically started asking him questions. He said, how old were you when you died? And then it followed with 72 knocks. I know. There was, hours and hours of recordings were made.
When you say recordings, is that like video recordings, tape recordings, or just like...
No, so there was like
written
audio recordings.
Right.
And then there was, at some point...
So did they record that part of the 72 knocks?
Don't know. There's limited stuff. I actually contacted, I forgot to show you this, what are they called? Cambridge Archive people. They basically have everything on record. Because I was trying to find all the images, and Charlie, my ChatGPT guy, said to contact them because they hold everything. Because I was trying to find photos of Graham's bruising, and there's some drawings I was trying to find, and I contacted them saying, like, we're doing a podcast covering this case, the Enfield case. I had the case number and everything, and I said, can you give me the diagrams and the photos to review? Because you're allowed to review them, you might not be allowed to post them. And he emailed me back. He was so funny. He was like, no worries, contact this person because they handle all of that. And he gave me an email address. And then at the bottom he went, or call this number because in these sorts of cases, who are you going to call? And then underneath that he was like, sorry about the Ghostbuster reference, but I thought it was funny. And I was like, I was like a professional archiving person. And I felt like emailing him back being like, listen to our podcast. But I just thought it was funny.
No, it's decent banter. I feel like it's like, funnier in the time, yeah.
I was like, good banter.
Yeah,
banter.
Yeah.
Banter. In November 1977, this is when like the violence started to begin. So the 12th of November, Janet was thrown from her bed to the floor. Peggy started to place notepads and pens around the house to see if anything would like write on them, and she came across one notepad that contained a message in unrecognisable handwriting which read, I will stay in the house, do not read this to anyone or retaliate. Which that's the note that I was trying to find in the archive people. There was equipment failures, so like we spoke about before, there's lots and lots of reports that when paranormal activity is happening, basically like technology starts to fail. There's loads of reports like saying that all their camera equipment started to malfunction. There was like fully charged flashes like connected to the cameras that were like instantly drained the second they walked into the house. They were just dead. And then there was a medical emergency. So the following weekend, Janet became increasingly like erratic, like her behaviour started becoming erratic. The doctors were called because she had a violent seizure, which I didn't actually know about, but she suffered like a silent seizure. Janet was then injected with Valium, which basically completely like wipes you out. It's like muscle relaxant, you go like sleepy and stuff.
Kind of sounds like a good time.
Yeah. So she was injected with Valium, quite a strong dose because of the seizure, and she was put to bed. Later on there was a noise heard, and the parents went upstairs, or Peggy went upstairs to have a look, and Janet was found like sound asleep, but she was on top of her dresser in like the most unnatural position, which I've actually got a photograph of. And does it cover the boiler cabinet thing? No.
See, in the movie I think they make
cabinet.
it creepier. She's like in the boiler cabinet all contorted and stuff like that.
I mean, it doesn't need to be creepier. I'll put the photo in here, but the photo is, if you're listening on podcast, the photo is basically she's laying over the dresser, but she is all contorted in the photograph. It's really
But
creepy.
is this when like Maurice and all that are there as well?
Yeah,
So
they took the
that's
photograph.
how they took the photo. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, her body's basically all twisted and in like an unnatural position, but she's still sound asleep. And then this starts to become a pattern. So Janet is found in all sorts of random places, unconscious, but it looks as if she's been like thrown or moved. So that's when that started happening. Then Janet started to produce drawings as well. So I think at one point a medium came to the house and she'd witnessed her doing like an automatic drawings type thing. So you're in a meditative state and you're basically like drawing but without knowing what you're drawing.
Yeah.
So Janet starts to do this as well, and I think I've got the photos of this too of her drawings, but they were basically featuring like blood, death and like knives and stuff. And they're really creepy, those drawings as well, so I add them in. You laughing at?
Yeah, that's pretty creepy. Like, yes.
In December, there was more escalation. So on the 3rd of December, Morris witnessed Janet sliding headfirst down the stairs whilst appearing to be asleep. Can you imagine that?
This kid is wild.
But also, I feel really sorry for her. It's just like bang.
Imagine wake, yeah, like
what the fuck
maddest,
is going on with
you wake up with the maddest headache and think like,
sounds a bit like me after not drinking.
Yeah.
Sounds like me at New Year's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chip my tooth. What the fuck happened to me?
Yeah.
So yeah, she basically was witnessed sliding headfirst down the
That's
stairs.
some mad parkour.
Mad parkour. On the dresser.
Parkour.
Start a new, like, a distorted version of it. And then a voice began to manifest through Janet. So it was described as being a gravelly, barking, whistling.
This is probably, I would say, don't know if you'd agree, is like the most solid. Would you say the most solid thing of like something going on there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll get on to like all the research and stuff, but yeah, I would say that. But yeah, it was described as being like gravelly. There was like a barking noise it started with. There was whistling. It claimed to be called Bill, but the tone of the voice was described as demonic. The voice mocked investigators. It made like crude jokes, and it grew louder and louder as time went on and more aggressive. But yeah, the voice had claimed to be someone called Bill. And it was later confirmed, but I'll go on to that. But he basically was asked by Maurice, like, how did you die? And there's a recording which we'll play in a minute, but he basically says,
hemorrhage, right?
I've gone blind, and I died from a hemorrhage.
Yeah.
And this was later confirmed. So they looked up the previous tenant of the house, and his name was Bill Wilkins. And then Terry Wilkins, his son, basically had seen in the media all this going on, and it was like, that sounds like Dad. Basically heard the voices, looked at the addresses and stuff, and was like, yeah, that was my dad. And he did confirm that he did die from a hemorrhage in that exact chair, in that exact spot, so the chair that had been like flipping about and stuff. Yeah, so this is basically the recordings that they'd made.
Let me hear you say my name. Come on, let me hear you say my name.
That's it.
Say Dr. Belloc. Come on, let me hear you say that. Come on, let's hear you say Dr. Belloc. Say Dr. Belloc. Now, if you squeak the bed, I can't hear you talking. Now, say Dr. Belloc. Come on. Come on, say it for me, Dr. Belloc. Dr. Belloc. answer me the following question. What have you done with Denise's 30p?
It's just a radio. That's it.
Sorry, Bill, can you say that again, please?
It's just a radio downstairs.
Right, Bill, I'll go and look. Thanks so much. Why can't Janet feel you?
I'm invisible.
You're invisible? Why are you invisible?
So much H-O-S-T.
What did I say?
Do any friends go with you?
Yes, all of them. All the dogs. 68 dogs.
So what have you got 68 dogs for?
So that they can protect me from you killing me. They can bite your head off.
How can we kill you, Bill?
You can shoot me off.
Now, how can we shoot you if we can't see you, Bill?
Praying to God.
Sorry, I didn't hear that, Bill.
I'm praying to God.
By praying to God. So, what you're saying is we could get rid of you by praying to God.
Yes.
That gave me chills. So yeah, basically, that was creepy.
Yeah, I mean,
That gave me
like,
chills, that last bit.
obviously, like, it's really hard to believe that a girl, because I feel like a man could put that voice on, like, I'm talking like this. You know what I mean? Like, a man could do that.
Yeah.
But for a, 13-year-old, 11-year-old girl.
So basically, there was a senior professor from Birkbeck College who specialised in laryngology, which is like the vocal,
Yeah.
the throat and stuff. Use a laryngograph, and he basically said the voice is coming from something called false vocal folds, which are located behind the true vocal cords. And it's important to note that anyone can briefly use them, but forming words is hard when you're using them. Like, you can like make growls like that, but you can't easily form words. It also states that, like, if someone was to use those false vocal cords, it's basically flaps behind the vocal cords themselves. After like a couple of minutes of doing it, they'd have like a really sore throat.
Yeah, it hurts to do
It
that,
hurts your
for
voice.
sure.
Like, you'd have a sore throat. You'd basically damage the vocal cords.
Yeah.
And it's important to note that these sessions of them questioning her lasted for up to 3 hours. Like, she had no hoarseness, no sore throat, and no vocal damage. In a later interview with Janet that was actually done in 2013, she said, which wasn't reported on at the time, but she said there was a voice specialist or a speech therapist coach. There was like a woman that came in, like watched her doing it, and the woman basically freaked out, ran out of the house and wanted nothing to do with anything. She wouldn't comment, she wouldn't be interviewed, she just basically freaked out and ran away.
Smart move.
But yeah, so but I think that's like the most solid evidence.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was also they said, well, if she is putting it on, let's test it. So they actually, I think in the movie they don't tape her mouth, but in real life they filled her mouth with water. Yeah. They put tape over her mouth, and the voice still came from her.
But they do touch. Maybe it was for cinematic thing. I don't think. I certainly didn't see this in any research. Obviously, in the movie, one of the things that they said is when they did the thing with the glass of water, they turned around.
No.
That day.
No. They had her mouth taped, a mouth full, and the voice still came through.
Yeah, but then through what? Like
the false vocal cords.
No, I get that, but what I'm saying is it must have been coming from something. What I'm saying is, no, see, that's what doesn't add up, right? Because I could understand you saying, all right, she's possessed, she's talking, and then it comes out, the words come out your mouth like your mouth's moving, right?
I don't know.
But then they're saying it comes out, if what they're saying is they could physically see that her mouth was shut and it's impossible to open your mouth talking and then it was coming out, then yeah, you'll probably...
I don't think she was moving her mouth when the voice was coming through her, though.
Oh, I feel like it must have been, because all you would do is just record that and be like, she's clearly possessed. There's no... I don't believe that.
I don't know.
Because I think that's conclusive evidence.
Well, she, in the interview that she gave in 2013, she said that when it was happening, it was uncontrolled by her.
Yeah.
She said she didn't feel like it was coming from her. She said she felt like there was a cold hand behind her neck and that the voice was coming from behind her. That's how she was describing it, basically. The other bit of evidence that is scepticised over, but we'll put the images in. So there's automatic cameras set up basically in the girl's bedroom specifically, and there's photos of her caught levitating and cushions suspended in midair, and people basically say it just looks like she's leaping off the bed.
She's jumping. Yeah.
But there was two separate witnesses who didn't know each other. There was a passerby, and then there was the lollipop lady, who they both didn't know each other, weren't connected. They both stated that they saw stuff being thrown at the window, and then they saw Janet levitating horizontally across the window. So there was two witnesses, and there's photographs. But obviously in the photograph, I suppose it could look like she's jumping off the bed, but then to have two witnesses,
because basically it looks like she's jumped
as well,
raised her legs, put her arms down, so it looks like almost like a big leap in the air. But it's weird to have two separate witnesses. No, 100%.
As well from outside.
100%.
Because this wasn't happening at night. This was happening all through the day as well.
Yeah.
There was escalating danger. Janet reported that the curtains had twisted around her neck, and she thought she was going to die. And luckily, her mum found her in time.
Again, covered in the movie, kind of.
Yeah.
When she's got the curtains around her whole.
Yeah. Base. And that was one of her biggest things in her interview.
Realising
that she could die.
Was the daughter though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in real life, it was Janet, and she says that was my biggest time that I realised this thing could kill me.
Yeah.
That was that turning point for her.
Pretty mad.
Then just before Christmas, the family goldfish died, which Bill claimed responsibility for, and then on Christmas Day, their budgie died as well.
Bastard.
There was messages left around the house. In the bathroom, the word shit was smeared onto the walls.
What, with shit?
Yeah. There was a message found in tape, 20 pieces of individual tape saying, "I am Fred," which raises the question to me, is it multiple spirits? Because who's Fred? Yeah, it's weird. Then, Peggy witnessed an actual, partial apparition. She saw, old-fashioned trousers walking up the stairs, but just the bottom half walking up the stairs. That was another thing. Another part, which again I'll try and add some photos, there was small fires that started appearing all around the house. So I think there was matchboxes, there was the side of the cooker, there was curtains, little fires started appearing, but then they'd go out instantly, which is what got the attention of Ed and Lorraine Warren, because it's quite similar to something called the Sally House hauntings. You can look that up if you want. We haven't got time to go into that now, but I think that Ed and Lorraine Warren were connected to that, and they basically then saw this, and they came over and visited in June, which, in contrary to the Conjuring movie, their involvement was actually quite brief. I think they only stayed for a couple of days. Later on, and in part of the other documentary that I watched on the Conjuring set, so Janet and her sister came to look at the set and was like, yeah, this is good. And Lorraine actually came and met with them, and Lorraine hadn't seen them in 20 years, and there was a big emotional reunion. So I think Lorraine must have been quite kind to them. They hugged on set. Lorraine said it was one of the scariest things that she'd experienced. She said that she felt a strong presence there when she was there. But I thought that was quite interesting that they were all involved in the movie as well.
I didn't know that they were.
Correct.
Well,
or as factually as they can. But yeah, so there were some claims that the girls had like made pranks. Janet actually admitted to this. She said like at the beginning, with little things, we'd like started to pull pranks and stuff. But then they said, I think they were excited. Obviously, they were getting attention. Obviously, parents were divorced and stuff. But the investigators said they caught the girls out and they'd obviously put a stop to that. And any of the bigger stuff.
Which
like,
is kind of
wasn't
understandable because you're a kid, you're
kids,
scared. It's like, you know, you want to make a bit of fun of.
But
the
then
situation.
I guess as it started to get scarier and scarier, they were like,
The problem is, it's the boy that cries wolf, innit? If you've been caught out a couple of times, then it's going to make people think, well.
And I think by then doing that, you then also open yourself up for darker stuff.
If you're antagonising it,
I think darker stuff can then attach as well. But because of this, obviously, there were issues with the media. And there was actually a test put out. So they cleared Janet's room completely of all furniture, took the girls out of the room, so the room was completely empty. All that was there was a fireplace which weighed £60. They heard a massive crash. They went in and the fireplace had been ripped from the wall. The pipes were basically snapped clean in half, and the children weren't present for it. So that was basically one of their investigations to prove that it wasn't the kids and stuff. But
so that is basically conclusive. Well, it's conclusive of either two things. It's conclusive that either it was a hoax, because they'd have to be in on that.
Yeah.
That doesn't just happen. You go and do that, and then you obviously said it happened when it did.
Yeah.
Or you're haunted as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Janet basically later then got hospitalised. She was in hospital for 6 weeks. They ran multiple tests on her to check that it wasn't Tourette's or anything like that, which is mental. But she had loads of tests and nothing paranormal happened while she was away. She returned and then again activity started up again. Another side fact as well, which I thought was interesting, I didn't actually know about this. They brought a Dutch medium in called Dono Gmelik. I'm going to butcher this name, sorry. Dono Gmelik Mailing. He didn't speak a word of English, but he basically went upstairs. They don't know what he did up there, but as soon as he came away from the house, everything started to calm. That was the first turning point of things starting to calm down. And he also claimed that there was a 24-year-old woman connected, and guess who was 24 when she died? Maurice's daughter from the year before. And he didn't speak a word of English and know anything about him. So I'm either thinking her dad's gone there to try and help. Is she coming through to try and help calm it? That's an interesting side point. I don't know. But I hadn't heard that anywhere. It was the first time I'd heard about that, so it was interesting. But the activity never fully stopped. In 1979, the Warrens returned. There was still activity, but there wasn't anything anywhere near as violent. Later, a priest actually blessed the house, and the activity diminished even further. The family moved away. Janet's made a full recovery, but the neighbours, so the Nottinghams, said that whatever that was there never left. They still could hear stuff from their side. She made a full recovery once they'd moved away, and she's done. I don't think happily ever after is the right description. She's done a couple of interviews, and she said it was such a profound effect on her childhood. It was basically she said, we had no privacy. She's still got the thoughts and the memories of it, and it still affects her to this day. But she has made a full recovery. There's nothing attached to her anymore. And then just a couple of interesting theories. There's a scientist that does psychokinesis, which I think is basically mind control. He's done a series of investigations on that, and part of your brain that lights up when that happens, which I didn't even know there's cases.
What happened?
There's cases of psychokinesis actually happening,
mind when psychokinesis happens,
moving stuff with your mind. I didn't realise there's actually cases of that, which we'll have to do an episode on. But he's basically scanned the brain whilst that's happening, and the part of the brain that flashes up when that happens is also connected to when you're just about to go through puberty. So Janet being 11, she's about to go into that period of time. That he's basically theorised that it could be linked, because a lot of poltergeist activity is linked to kids that are about to go through puberty. And he's saying, like, I wonder if it was, like, the perfect conditions, basically, to invite a poltergeist, or if she was unknowingly moving things with her mind. And there was a couple of examples of that, actually, as well, that was reported on. There was a cushion that they placed, and they asked Janet to move it, and they said that the cushion, like, they went out of the room, and the cushion ended up on the roof. And there was a witness that corroborated it as well, that saw the cushion on the roof. And then there was another one as well. So the adjoining wall to their room, which this is all stuff I hadn't heard of, which I found really interesting. The adjoining wall to their room was the other neighbour's house, which they didn't know those neighbours. This wasn't the Nottinghams, this was separate neighbours. And they basically said, move something through the wall. And then Janet basically went into like a meditative state, started describing the bedroom, like the whole layout, everything that was in the room. And then she basically said, I've left something there for you. So a few days later, like as soon as they could, they made arrangements to go round to that neighbour's house. They went upstairs, the description of the bedroom was spot on, and there was one of Janet's books that belonged to Janet, like says her name in it, in that room.
So it's really funny you say that, because it's an episode that I want to do much later that we'll talk massively about, and it's a document released by the CIA. Ooh. But completely blacked out, like not completely blacked out, mostly blacked out, and it's literally about a guy, can't remember his name, but we'll do a big thing on this, and he essentially could separate his consciousness from his brain and teleport wherever he wanted to.
So like astral projection, projection, but in real life.
He could go into space.
Yeah, that's mental.
Yeah, like there's stories about stuff like he could literally tell you anything anywhere in the world. He could just like mentally go there.
I definitely want to cover that.
The reason the CIA and obviously big agencies like that wanted people like this is because of like state secrets. It's a war. It's a different type of war kind of thing.
Well, that's something I want to cover too. Like, I mean, you don't watch Stranger Things, do you?
No, I do. I just haven't watched the latest one.
So
big bag of shit.
I really want to cover. There's like a conspiracy, which I don't really get into conspiracies much, but there's a big conspiracy to do with Stranger Things, and it being like an actual project that they carried out, renamed, and it was pitched to the. There's loads of basically facts that have come out that it was pitched to the Netflix producers as the original name of the project, and they changed it. But I want to look into it anyway.
I think the big what's so important about this is because if you can prove consciousness and something that consciousness can be removed, or then that's a big argument for ghosts being real and stuff like that, and spirits.
One, and then two. But I also think, again, the whole like mind control stuff, that's important, because I think it definitely could happen. But that's what I'm saying about the project that they did, was how Elle was in Stranger Things. Yeah,
I don't know if I can back that.
But you're saying it's exactly the same thing.
No, but are they going to then make it into a movie and just change the name?
No, not that. I'm saying there's little facts that connect it.
Oh, right.
So I'm like, I want to look at that. I want to look into it, like the case and stuff in the project.
Got ya.
But yeah, no, it's not. I'm not saying the whole thing was real. I'm not saying Stranger Things was real. I'm saying there's a very similar project that has.
Danielle thinks Stranger Things is real.
There's a similar project to do with Elle, basically, and mind control.
Got ya.
There's little facts throughout Stranger Things that relate back to it that I'd like to look into.
Plus, mind control on a basic level is also
really interesting. Let's cover it.
You can do that on like a basic level.
Yeah.
What's his name? Darren Brown does it all the time, which is pretty crazy. I'm just going to quickly cover fact from fiction, because I think Danielle covered pretty much most of the scary stuff. The stuff we want to know.
In terms of the movie.
Yeah, so like movie from actual real life. So Janet in real life was the primary focus of the haunting, which again, to be fair, in the movie does show quite a lot of. Obviously, some stuff happened to all of them, but she is the main one. The sister Margaret was also involved. Quite a lot, but wasn't quite in the films. They didn't quite show that as much.
Yeah, whenever anything happened, it was usually them two together. Because in the films they picked up on the boy, didn't they?
The boy, obviously, he had the thing, because that's the really big thing that just kind of randomly happened in the films, which I never really got, was the long leg man. Do you remember that Slender Man looking thing?
He used to see things in his tent, didn't he? I haven't seen the movie in a while.
Oh, there's the character in it, and he's like this long-legged man.
Maybe that's
with
to do
the umbrella.
with the apparition of the feet. on the legs of the Peggy saw, like the mum saw walking upstairs. I wonder if they brought that in because that was maybe a bigger thing then.
Yeah, because it did look weird as well. Like it just didn't really make sense. But yeah, but again, dramatic effect for the movies. And again, the investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, are like, again, some of the main protagonists in it. When in actuality, I think they were there for a total of 3 days in the end.
And I think they must have had like a big effect on the kids because obviously all the other investigators were men. So having like Lorraine there, I guess even for a short period, they must have like connected with her because it was such a big part in the movie. But yeah, it's not.
Well, they would have known the reputation that they had, so it would have felt like help. It would have been nice to probably have them
like
there
relief.
for a little while.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a big thing in the movie and not in real life.
But it was Maurice Gross and Anita Gregory that were pretty much the real investigators that
Graham,
actually done it all. So again, in reality, as Danielle said, furniture moving, so the chairs, parts around the house, the marbles, all that kind of thing, that happened. As far as we know, possession and communication, again, as the audio shows, as we spoke about, that all did happen. I think they portrayed that pretty well in the film. Skepticism in real life, the public and the investigators were skeptics. I think even Maurice and Anita, there's a bit of uncertainty on this. It does seem like they were skeptics over time. Did their sort of view on that change? Probably. I feel like you can't go through all this and not change. But again, they went into it as skeptics. But yeah, overall, they got the main things in there, but there obviously were some things for dramatic effect, and the main story was obviously completely switched into that. It was the nun that was possessing the house and possessing Bill Wilkins.
Yeah, I guess they had to, because it was the Conjuring series, I guess they had to connect it some way. But
yeah, when in reality it had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the nun or anything like that. So again, there were some things that weren't depicted in the film because there was a lot more subtle phenomena. Again, just like smaller things moving, but this happens so much that again it would be a bit of a boring film if you were just constantly like a photo moved. Yeah, just marbles around the house. You're not a very good ghost. Yeah, again, I think you touched on Janet's personal struggles, so she actually really went through it.
Yeah.
Which again would have just been a bit of a depressing film if it was just.
I feel really sorry for her because obviously, she had all the investigators coming in and out, and then like obviously she was hospitalised for 6 weeks. They were like constantly watching her, cameras everywhere. It must have been like a really hard childhood.
Yeah, I mean,
and pressure as well.
I think just being possessed is enough to ruin your childhood.
Yeah.
You know, I'd never be able to sleep in a dark room again.
Well, like, even having the like the pressure of like
that's shit. But I'd rather that any day than like
be on your own with it.
A ghost and stuff like that. And then after the Enfield haunting, essentially it completely died down over time. Like you said, after the medium and after the priest went in, there was pretty much no actual reported evidence of anything more going on. Yes, the Nottingham said that they heard some stuff.
I forgot to mention there's been two owners since then. The first one moved in. They said they didn't see anything paranormal. This was in one of the documentaries. They didn't see anything paranormal. However, they said they never felt alone and they always felt like something was watching them.
So there was nothing documented. I
they
think
moved
is
out
the point.
After 2 months.
Yeah, which to be honest, I wouldn't even move in.
They moved out after 2 months, and basically the now current owners refuse to be named and don't want to comment. So
understandable.
Yeah, nothing documented, but I just thought it was interesting.
But I just feel like if they were going through it, they'd probably also be out. So, and I think that's
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that also they don't want a circus around the house either.
No, so it was never an official possession in any way. Whereas again, the films portray a possession of a child, but there was never an actual possession. There was never an exorcism.
Is there an exorcism in the film?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he is. Ed has to perform it because the priest can't turn up in time.
Yeah.
So he has to perform the exorcism.
Yeah.
So again, it's nothing like that actually happened. Although, and I guess we need to clue ourselves up on this more, because what him speaking through Janet doesn't necessarily mean it's a possession. It can be that ghosts can communicate through people without possessing them as such.
Yeah, I
what
think
that's
you can
called,
either
I
be
don't know.
Possessed or what is it called? It's called fucking happened to me before.
Did it?
Yeah, it's called trance. That's what it's called. It's happened to me before. I don't know if I should go into it or not, but I will quickly. So, small background. My stepmom is a medium, and I sat in circle with her when I was 19 to 25. So we used to basically like work on talking to spirit, and we didn't do like come to us and I'll give you messages and stuff. It was like working on our own abilities essentially, and we were all doing a séance, and there was 3 people in the room that were looking at me and like saying that my facial features weren't my facial features, that my face had basically turned into like a Native American face. And there's a difference between trance and possession. Like trance is when you like spirit
you turn into a Native American.
when you turn into a spirit.
Yeah,
look, all I'm saying is it creeped me out. I couldn't see it, but there was 3 different people that saw it, and the only thing I can tell you is I didn't feel scared. I felt very like...
Was there drugs involved in this?
No.
Okay.
I felt very like at peace. I just felt really fluttery. That's the only description I've got, is I felt fluttery, like fizzy and fluttery. But I didn't even know it was happening. I was like, why are you looking at me?
So that was Danielle's first experience taking mushrooms.
But anyway.
But yeah, no, it certainly is creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no real possession as such, no exorcism, no confirmed demons, and then eventually it just kind of went away.
Yeah.
Well,
they moved away.
Well, the Dutch man saved the day by the sound of it.
Yeah, but they said they don't know what he did up there because no one was with him. Whatever he did, I want him if I ever get haunted.
I wonder if he ever wrote about it.
Don't know. It was such a small segment. I think the main thing is they said a priest came and
blessed the
house, but it was just interesting that I saw this bit as well, that it's not very well documented on, but yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, that is the Enfield Poltergeist haunting. So my theory is the divorced dad never left. He lived in the walls and was fucking with him.
Right.
It's not really.
No.
No, I think there's too much stuff going on for nothing to have happened. I think maybe some of the smaller stuff might have been the girls pranking, playing around, but I think the big stuff, it's hard.
I believe it. I 100% believe in it.
Yeah.
I think I'm like, again, if we're going on that percentage level, I'm like 80% sure, okay, something went down.
Yeah.
There is the 20% of me that goes, okay, the only rational explanation to this is the fact that it was one big hoax.
17 people involved, police involved, yeah.
Well, a couple of people, you get together and you go, look, there's a bit of money involved in this. We say this.
I don't think they made any money from it.
Well, no, but that's the whole point of it. That might have been the initial goal. Because it's like, right, they did contact the press pretty early. They did try and get a big media circus going, as they said. So was there a potential, you don't know what their exact thought process, but was it, all right, maybe we'll get a TV show out of this, maybe we'll get some money out of this. Who knows? So there is, of course, the only rational explanation I see, if we're talking rational, is hoax. Because you're right, with police involved, with all these other people involved, it can't be, unless, of course, it was a hoax that only some people were on, and then some of the other people, like the police, were potentially somehow fooled.
All I know is that I think if there was that many people involved, at some point someone would have slipped up, but apparently everyone's accounts from that point till the day that they died, because a lot of them aren't here anymore, like their stories never changed.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll never know.
No, I believe it. It's freaky.
Yeah, I believe it. I'm like, my family are from Enfield, but my nan remembers it being in the news and stuff, like shit. Yeah, I think at the time it was a big thing, and I think it was a big turning point in being able to like talk about this sort of stuff as well.
I think it was the first, from what I read, it was the first big media ghost story in England for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a lot more people heard about Ed and Lorraine Warren after that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
It went bump in the night, I guess.
It certainly did.
Yeah.
She went bump down the fucking stairs.
Yeah. Marbles.
She went flying down the stairs head first. So we're going to finish up on a quick... It's just a very short listener story at the minute.
Yeah, we got our first one in.
It's just a very short one, but it's really nice, really kind of comforting, actually. So his granddad passed away.
Did you give time frames on it or anything?
Yeah, this was recent. So this was in the last 5 years.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
his granddad passed away. He said that his granddad always had his dinner at 6 o'clock on the dot. He'd quite often go in and the oven door would be open. Grandma was like getting dinner ready. For the 2 weeks following his granddad's death, so every single night after his granddad died, the oven door would be open at 6 o'clock on the dot. No one there. Which I thought was really cute and like a little sign. But for 2 weeks on the dot, every evening at 6 o'clock, oven was open, oven door was open, and it's not like one of them ones that could just flop. It was like you had to give it a good tug. But yeah, I just thought it was really comforting and like a quite nice little sign that his granddad was there. And then it stopped after 2 weeks.
It would still freak me the hell out, but yeah.
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 It would freak me out, but I'd be like, granddad's waiting for his dinner. But I thought that was really nice. So yeah, just a little short one to finish on this week. If you have any stories, please send them
That was
to
good
us.
though. Like, don't feel like you have to give a big story.
No,
Like that.
we
Just got
like
straight
little
to the
ones.
point
Yeah,
and
little ones are nice.
absolutely, that's freaky. Cool, but
Yeah, he wanted to be anonymous. He said he'd rather just tell me the story and I can obviously share it. We've got some more like through the email as well, which we'll pick up on. But yeah, please email us all your ghost stories to thingsthatgobumpinthenightpod@gmail.com. Include as much detail as you can. Tell your friends and family. All the links will be below. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, not Twitter because we got banned.
for nothing. We didn't even post anything.
We set up an account and got banned
We literally,
immediately.
like,
so
guidelines.
we'll have
I
to figure that
understand.
one out.
Yeah. Maybe they thought our account was about drugs.
I don't know, things that go bump in the night.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit dodgy, to be fair. And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us. And like and subscribe.
Yeah, get us loads of money and then we'll go and do some really crazy ghost shit, basically.
Yeah.
We'll like go to haunted places and find some ghosts.
Yeah, but yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
And if it goes bump in the night,
we're talking about it.